The moment the room went quiet, I realized it wasn't because the music had stopped. It was because everyone heard her clearly. I only needed the ring. I didn't need him. She smiled after saying it. Not nervously, not apologetically, just confidently, like it fit the moment, like it belonged there. My name is Julian Mercer. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, in a part of the city where everything looks intentional and nothing is ever said without meaning something. I'm a corporate attorney. I build my life around control, precision, and understanding what something really means before I respond to it. That's probably why her words didn't feel like a mistake. They felt like a reveal. My fiancée, Sloane Davenport, had always been the kind of person who understood rooms. She knew how to carry herself, how to speak, how to say just enough without saying too much, which is why that moment didn't feel random. People like her don't lose control like that. They shift. And that night, something shifted. The engagement party was held at her parents' estate. String lights stretched across the lawn. Soft music played in the background. People dressed like they belonged in a magazine spread about perfect lives. Everything looked right. Everything felt right. Until it didn't. She had been drinking, but not enough to excuse anything. Just enough to loosen the version of herself she usually maintained. At first, it was easy to ignore. She laughed louder, made sharper jokes, talked over people slightly more than usual. Nothing that stood out enough to matter. Then she picked up the microphone. Everyone assumed it would be a toast. Something warm, something expected. She looked at me, held eye contact, and said it. I only needed the ring. I didn't need him. Some people laughed. Others didn't. But no one spoke, because everyone understood something had just happened. Before we go further, think about this. If your partner says something like that in front of everyone you know, do you protect the moment, or do you protect yourself? Because I didn't protect the moment. I protected my understanding of it. I walked toward her slowly, took the microphone from her hand. Thank you all for coming, I said. My voice sounded calm, even, controlled. Then I handed it back and walked away. No reaction, no confrontation, just distance. She followed me a few minutes later. Why would you do that? She asked. Do what? I said. Walk off like that, she replied. It made things awkward. That word stayed with me. Awkward. Not wrong. Not hurtful. Just awkward. You told everyone you didn't need me, I said. It was a joke, she said immediately. Then explain it, I replied. She paused, just for a second. But enough. You're taking it too seriously, she said. Maybe I was. But sometimes seriousness is just clarity you weren't expecting. I'm not taking it seriously, I said. I'm just not ignoring it. Her expression shifted. Not guilt, not regret, just irritation. Before we continue, answer this honestly. If someone embarrasses you publicly and then tells you you're overreacting, do you question yourself? Or do you start seeing them differently? Because that moment changed how I saw her. We didn't argue that night. Not really. We just existed around each other until the party ended. Polite, controlled, distant. The next morning, she called. Are you still upset? She asked. I'm not upset, I said. I'm clear. What does that mean? She asked. It means I understand something I didn't before, I said. And what is that? She asked. That we're not aligned the way I thought we were, I replied. She sighed. You're really going to turn this into something big, she said. No, I said. I'm just not going to pretend it's small. Silence. Then, you're being dramatic, she said. That word didn't land the way she expected it to. It just confirmed something. I don't feel dramatic, I said. I feel certain. Another pause. What are you saying? She asked. I took a breath. I'm saying we shouldn't get married, I said. The silence that followed felt heavier than anything from the night before. You're serious? She asked. Yes, I said. Over a joke? She said. No. Iropia. Over what it revealed. She didn't respond immediately, because there wasn't much to say once something becomes clear. You're making a mistake, she said quietly. Maybe, I replied, but I'm making it knowingly. We didn't argue. We didn't try to fix it, because fixing something requires both people to see the same problem. And we didn't. A week later, she returned the ring. No note, no explanation, just a small box. And somehow that felt right, because nothing about how it ended was loud. It was precise, clear, final. But the truth is, That night wasn't the beginning of the end. It was the moment I finally recognized it. Because when I look back, the signs had been there. Subtle, easy to ignore, small shifts in how she spoke, how she responded, how she positioned herself in conversations. She had started making decisions that didn't include me, not in obvious ways, just gradually, and I adjusted, because that's what you do when you want something to work. You adapt. You compromise. You tell yourself it's temporary, until it isn't. That night just made it visible, clear enough that I couldn't explain it away anymore. And once you see something clearly, you can't go back to not seeing it. That's what made it final. Not the words, not the moment, the clarity. Because clarity doesn't ask for permission. It just arrives. The next morning didn't feel like an ending. It felt like something unfinished had finally become visible. I woke up earlier than usual. Not because I had somewhere to be, because my mind hadn't really shut off. Clarity does that. It doesn't let you rest in confusion anymore. For a few minutes, I just sat there, quiet, not checking my phone, not replaying the moment, just present with what I already knew. Because once something becomes clear, going over it again doesn't change it. It only delays what you're already certain about. My phone lit up around 8:12 a.m. Her name, Sloane. I let it ring once, then twice. Then I answered. "Are you still upset?" she asked. Same question, same tone, like we were continuing something that hadn't actually ended. "I'm not upset," I said. "I told you that." There was a pause. Not long, but noticeable. "Then why are you acting like this?" she asked. "Like what?" I said. "Distant," she replied. I almost smiled, because distance doesn't start when someone notices it. It starts long before that. "I'm not acting distant," I said. "I just stopped pretending everything is fine." She exhaled slowly. "You're making this bigger than it is," she said. "No, yeah. I'm just not making it smaller." Silence. Then, "So what now?" she asked. That question mattered. Because now we weren't talking about the moment. We were talking about what comes after it. "I meant what I said," I replied. "I don't think we should move forward." Another pause. Longer this time. "You're serious," she said. "Yes," I replied. "Julian," she started, then stopped. Because whatever she was about to say didn't fit the situation anymore. Before we go further, think about this. If someone realizes they're losing something, do they try to fix it because they understand it, or because they don't want to lose it? Because those are two very different things. "You're really ending this over one night?" she asked. "No," I said. "I'm ending this because of everything that led to that night." "That's not fair," she said. "It's accurate," I replied. She didn't respond immediately. Because fairness and truth don't always align. "What do you want me to say?" she asked. That question stayed with me. Because it wasn't about understanding. It was about finding the right words to change the outcome. "I don't need you to say anything," I said. I needed to see it. "See what?" she asked. "How you see me," I replied. Silence. Not defensive, not confused, just quiet. Because some answers don't need to be spoken. "I didn't mean it like that," she said finally. "I know," I replied. "That's why it matters." She exhaled again, slower this time. "You're not even trying to fix this," she said. I leaned back slightly, thinking about that word. Fix. Fixing something assumes both people want the same version of it. "I don't think this is something you fix," I said. "I think this is something you recognize." "And just walk away?" she asked. "If staying means ignoring it, then yes," I said. There it was. Not dramatic, not emotional, just decided. We ended the call shortly after that. No jilling, no last attempt, just a quiet stop. And that silence felt different than the one from the night before. That one had confusion. This one had closure. Later that afternoon, I went back to the venue. Not for her, for myself. The staff was already cleaning up. Chairs being stacked. Lights coming down. The kind of quiet that follows something that looked perfect a few hours earlier. I walked across the lawn slowly. Stopped near the spot where she had stood with the microphone. Nothing marked it. No sign anything had happened there. Which felt right. Because moments don't leave physical traces. They leave perspective. One of the staff members approached me. "Everything okay?" he asked. I nodded. "Yeah," I said. And for the first time, that answer wasn't automatic. It was true. "Before we continue, I want you to answer something honestly. If something ends quietly, without chaos or anger, Does it mean it mattered less? Or does it mean you finally understood it clearly? Because that question stayed with me longer than anything else. Over the next few days, things moved quickly. Not emotionally, logistically. Calls, arrangements, conversations that felt more like transactions than anything personal. We didn't meet again immediately. There wasn't a reason to. What needed to be said had already been said. A week later, a package arrived. Small, simple, no return note. I didn't need to open it to know what it was. But I did anyway. The ring, sitting exactly how it had been placed months earlier. Like nothing had changed, except everything had. I held it for a moment, not emotionally, just aware, because that ring had never been the problem. It had just been the symbol. And symbols only matter when what they represent is real. I placed it back in a box, closed it, set aside, and that was it. No dramatic ending. No final confrontation. Just completion. The kind that doesn't feel loud. It feels accurate. Weeks passed. Work filled the space again. But this time, it didn't feel like avoidance. It felt like movement. Forward, not away. And every now and then, I would think about that night. Not the words. Not the moment. The clarity. Because that's what stayed. Not what she said, but what it showed. And once something shows you the truth clearly enough, you don't need closure. You already have it.